Right now we're sitting here with Logan Huffman, one of the stars for the new series on TV, and starring in recently released film America, and Lime Life actually just premiered tonight in New York. Thanks so much for taking the time to do this interview.
Well, I really appreciate it, and it's always good to help out. And anybody who's willing to listen to me, I'll just let them listen, you know?
You must be obviously very excited about this new project. How did it all come about that you were involved with this new series?
So, you know, it's just like anybody else in acting. It's you know, you can be very talented, but it's also luck and who you know. And I fully agree with that. Yeah.
You've been getting a lot of great reviews, including the main star for America, Rosio ODonal. First, going back to the whole learning process, being involved with all those people in the film, of course we mentioned Rosio ODonal and other cast members. What did you go away with that experience from the script, living the script, and bringing your character to life, and then dealing with people on the set and behind the scenes?
Well, I think what I got most out of it, and you know, I'm from Indiana and it's part of the Midwest, and Michigan is really it's a heartbreaking place. It's a lot of hardworking people and a lot of kids who aren't getting their second chances in life, and I think this movie's all about trying to give kids a second chance. I mean, I got a cousin out in a correctional facility in Ohio, and by me doing this, it kind of made him feel good about himself, and I just feel like these kids who are in these foster care systems and in these horrible situations with their parents who really don't want them anymore, they just let the state take care of them. It's a heartbreaking scenario, and we really need to. I mean, I think it's just a shame that so many people. Why are people adopting out of this country when there's so many kids here who need help? And I think that's what the great thing about the movie America was. I just think that it needs to be shown that there are kids here who need help. Sure, America's a great country. We've got everything. But in some ways, I mean, Michigan and other parts of the country can be very third world. And we need to stop. It's just a shame that we spend so much time taking... I mean, I feel, you know, I think you should help out anybody around the world, but I think it's a good idea to help anybody here too. I mean, there's a lot of kids who need help in the United States and, you know, other parts of North America, because it's still impoverished situations.
Reading over the stats for foster care, children coming out of foster care in the States, it's unbelievable. Like 80% of children coming out of foster care after 18 years of age end up in crime or homelessness.
Yeah, most likely death. I mean, there's so many, you know, it's just a really hard situation for anybody, and I don't know. It just feels like, you know, a lot of people are adopting kids, and believe me, all adoption's great, but I mean, I think what America needs to show people is that we need to look at these kids here, because there's great kids here, you know, these. And I know, here's another thing. If anyone's ever thinking about adoption, you know, don't go for the little puppy baby. Go for the kid who really needs it. Because there's always anybody who's strong and who's willing to take it off, go for the 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kid who really just needs some guidance. And if you've got a good home and you're willing to help somebody, go with them. Because these kids end up self-mutilating themselves, a total misdirection on what life is about. They're in a constant state of pain, and they just need help. And I think Rosie's done a great job in showing that how much people need help. And same with Eve, the director. I mean, he was able to capture the sorrow and pain and how confused these kids are. You know, I mean, we all have a life path, and these kids just need a little bit of direction so they don't stumble. And sadly, when they stumble, it's usually a really bad situation. They end up in jail or sometimes death, and then maybe homelessness. I mean, it's tough stuff. And it's just like, you know, we come from a good country, and we should really also look at. I'm not talking down. If you want to adopt a kid from a different country, that's okay. But I just think there's a lot of good kids here, you know?
Yeah, that's an issue that definitely has to be brought up and addressed, obviously, a lot more. You play the young teen Marshall, who was released into foster care. His mother was a crack addict, and he was abused.
That was actually the story of the main character, America.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kind of the bad guy. I mean, they really don't dive into Marshall's life, but Marshall was really just, he's one of those kids who's just, you know, he says, oh, look, a kitten, let's step on it. You know, he was so much pain was in him that it was to that point, you know, all feelings are polar opposite. And so much pain was in Marshall that, you know, that made him laugh. He was really, actually, the inspiration for the entire character was Charles Manson. I was listening to him ramble like he always does, if you ever watch anything on YouTube of him. And he was saying, if you're nice to me, man, I'm the man in the mirror. If you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. If you pat me on the back, I'll pat you on the back. If you punch me, I'll punch you. If you stab me, I'll stab you. And that was really Marshall. He was just very visceral, you know. For Marshall, he was very, you know, man in the mirror. He would, you know, if you hit him, he would hit you. If you smiled at him and said, how you doing, he'd say, how you doing. But, you know, if you cut him, he'll cut you. You know, he's very, I'll do what you do to me. But I mean, that character in America, he was really, you know, he wanted to play. That was his whole thing. If America was this new, fresh meat, and let's see if I can break him. Because, I mean, it's a good thing when you get to play a really f***ed up guy. It's because in real life, we really can't do the stuff we get to do on film. Because you can really go the full extent and not have to have any repercussions. And I can pray to the good Lord above, please forgive me for whatever I've done. That was just acting today, you know, and you don't really feel that bad in your heart, you know. But it's good to play messed up characters because it lets the actor do things what they usually don't get to do in real life.
And going over just the little things, the physicality, like obviously your hair is a little different in the film, and then facial expressions for your character who's obviously been traumatized, you know, in his life being in foster care. Was it something you had to kind of work on, the physical part, the facial expressions? It kind of came naturally at times, and other times you just had to remind yourself, well, this is...
When it comes to, like, you know, you're just supposed to exist in the situation, and I kind of come from a family who's, you know, if we want to fight, you got to put the eyes of God in you. So, you know, the facial expressions and stuff really isn't that difficult because, you know, I mean... I think the key to any acting, you kind of got to look at the eyes. Because if you can get those eyes, and you ever fight a guy where you look inside his eyes, and it's like the eyes of God are right behind him. And you're like, I'm going to lose this fight because God's not on my side. And I mean, Marshall, he wasn't like that. It was like the eyes of Satan were on his eyes. And were you going to win the fight? In America, the opposite part, you look through his eyes. Philip Johnson was his name, great actor. I really hope to see a lot of him in the future. It was like the eyes of God, the eyes of innocence, and I was the eyes of everything that was wrong. I'm what the system has done. We're both products of this awful and broken system known as a foster care system. And Philip was able to show that there's a little bit of angel left. But my job, as my part, was to show I'm torn apart and I'm not functioning and I need help. And frankly, it's too past gone. I'm not going to get any help. So I'm the guy who's going to get out and kill somebody, and Philip's the guy who's going to get a degree, you know, move on with his life, become a productive member of society. Because really what we're doing with putting these kids through these foster care systems are just creating the majority unfunctional people, you know. And my character is the representative of the unfunctional part. But Philip, very unfunctional, couldn't make it. I mean, the part of America, couldn't make it. But then Rosie comes in, and she lets him see that it is possible. That it is possible that he can make it in society and be a successful member. I mean, society is all we need.
A lot of people have been talking about your performance. Your acting is, well, first, it's very genuine. It's something authentic. It's something new and refreshing. Almost like people have been waiting for this for a long time. People talk about James Dean, and some people have actually compared you a little bit to James Dean. By the way, James Dean is from Indiana. You probably don't feel too comfortable being compared to other actors. You have your own identity. Just to delve into your background, when did you first start acting, and what context did you train to be an actor?
Well, I first started out. I just knew monologues because I loved techie work in high school. Like, I loved doing the set design and stuff. But in order to be a part of set design, you had to take an acting class. So I went to a next door neighbor's Christmas party, and one of their sons taught voice and movement at Iowa State University. His name is Scott Nice. He's a fabulous voice and movement teacher, one of the most informed people on Catherine Foots-Moore's technique. What he can pull out beautifully. But his name's Scott Nice, and he really gave me my first chance because he watched me do a monologue in a back room, and then he gave me direction. And he told me that he noticed that I could take direction. So then he said, I want you to go to a teacher I know. And her name's Catherine Gately, who's a Meisner teacher, who's really one of the last, like, true Meisner teachers. And I don't care what anybody says, she is really the most purest form you can really get to this date. And Catherine, I lived with her for about a year and a half, acting on and off, and just learning the Meisner technique. And then she introduced me to someone in New York who sadly died of cancer, and a good man, and he helped me get involved with some other management agencies before he passed. And I'm with Gersh and TMT now, and I've just been trying to go out doing the whole actor thing in New York, just working as hard as I can, but it feels really good. It's a great thing to know that, a kid from Indiana who really probably wasn't going to go to college and probably was going to live a life at some sort of mill is able to do something as nice and as fulfilling as what I'm doing right now. I didn't learn to read until the 7th grade. I had dyslexia, and for a long time there I thought I was going to be flipping burgers for a living. But then this approached me, and it's the only thing I've ever been good at. And I love it very much.
Logan, you've been here, had a chance to spend some time in Canada. I was wondering if you could comment on the vibe you pick up over here in the film industry in Vancouver, because people say it's kind of a little bit more character-based here. What kind of difference do you notice in the film community here? It's only been a short time, though, for you over here, but I was wondering if you can comment on that.
Yeah, I think it's a great city, and you guys have got a lot of guts. I mean, it's just like Indiana. I mean, people from Indiana is just like, we just want a little bit of recognition. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're from Texas, hell, everybody knows about Texas. But, Vancouver's up against places like L.A. and New York, and you guys really got the heart. So as long as you guys got the heart, it's going to keep on trucking here.
Listeners, we were just talking to Logan Huffman, one of the stars for recently released film America, and Limelife just released tonight, premiered tonight in New York, and upcoming projects for a new series on TV. Is there a link or a website the listeners can go to if they would like more information on your current projects, upcoming projects?
Well, I guess IMDb is about the only option you got. I think I have a fan site somewhere out there, but I'm not so sure where it is.
It's been great getting this opportunity to talk to you, and I'm sure a lot of people have been talking tonight. Your trailer screened at the Sallywood Social Club and around the film community. People are looking forward to see more of your work. Yeah, your style is very unique. It's something that is going to enrich a lot of the patrons going to the theaters. really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview.
Thank you very much, man. I really it was my pleasure. And it's always good to talk to somebody who's interested in what we're doing. Appreciate it.